Dinner in the boat, barracuda on the bucktail jig. Dolphin in the boat. Oh my God. Woo! Solo kingfish trip right there. That's a beast right there.
Let's do this.
That's mutton snapper right there, baby.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this.
All right, on the boat with me today, I got my oldest of 4 children, the one, the only, the fish slayer, Avi. All right, folks, it's a beautiful morning. We're rigging up and we're heading towards the inlet. The idea for today is we're gonna head off to the deep ledge of the first reef and the second reef and do some planer trolling with a white bucktail jig. I'm gonna try and show you just how versatile and productive this jig can be. Other than a jig, other than up on top trolling it, we're gonna show you how to get it down into the water column and produce a catch. Before we get into this though, if you wanna learn more about fishing, grow as an angler, or just see some great and exciting offshore fishing adventures, you can start by hitting the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you won't miss a thing. All right, folks, like I said, it is a beautiful morning. Got a slight southwest breeze, can't even barely feel it. It's looking like it's gonna be a beautiful day on the water. You know what that means. We'll see you out on the water. All right, folks, so we headed out of Boca Inlet. We're just to the north, not even a half-mile north. We're gonna start doing some planer trolling, like I said, with a white bucktail jig. Currently sitting in right around 95 feet. We're gonna head out to about 120 and sort of bob and weave in and out of the deep edge of the first reef. Maybe go and hit that second reef out in that 200 area if we're not finding a bite. One of our pieces of electronic gear is down. I don't know what's happened. The fuse seemed to have gone. Hopefully it didn't short circuit and kill my nice little toy I had, but good grief, we've got it back up. So like I said, we're planer trolling. This is our setup. This is what we're gonna use. This is a Penn International 30 spooled with 80-pound braid. It is on a 7-foot custom Choas rod with all roller guidance. Now at the end of my braid, I have a 300-pound swivel. So to go over the basics of planer trolling, you're gonna need your planer. This is my favorite planer. It's a number 6. It'll get you down to about 35 feet to 50 feet when doing about 8 knots. But we're not gonna go that fast. We're trolling a bucktail jig. So when you're trolling a little white bucktail jig, you wanna do about 4 to 6 knots. So first thing you do is you take your main line swivel and you hook it onto the ring of your planer. Snap that swivel tight. Then we've got our leader. My leader is 100 feet of 60-pound monofilament. You need a long leader. You don't want the fish to be anywhere near this piece of hardware. It spooks them. You take your mainline swivel from your leader, which is another 300-pound swivel, and you're gonna hook that onto the plate loop on your planer, just like this. What happens is when you're trolling, a fish hits, it yanks out your lure, planer rises up. Next, we've got the lure size swivel, which is a smaller size 7 swivel. We're going to hook that onto our lure. Our lure is a 3/4 ounce white bucktail jig, and it's got about 12 inches of 40-pound number 4 wire leader on it. We're just gonna simply take that, pop that on our swivel, and that's it. This is the beauty of this type of trolling, is it's clean. We don't need to add on a bonita strip and get all baited up or do anything like that. We're good to go. All right, so like I said, we're in 95 feet of water. We're gonna head up to about 120 and we're gonna plop it in and you know, see if we can get on the roll, get in there, bite. All right, so to get up and rolling with planer trolling is very simple. You simply dip your lure in and you unravel it from your yo-yo. Houses your leader. Let that leader unwind all the way. Once it unwinds, we're gonna drop in our planer. We're at the end of our leader. Now we simply just plop in the planer, put the rod in the grease spool and let it go. Now, when you're letting out your main line, you don't need to let out like 300 or 400 feet of main line when you're planer trolling. You only got to let out about 100, maybe 150 feet, because you've got a 100-foot leader past your planer. It'll get you out plenty, but you want to let out enough line to make sure that your planer is going to dive down. All right, so once you've let out enough line, you put your boat in neutral. You want to keep letting out some of your main line let it kind of go slack with braid, because the braid's sensitive. Any resistance put on it by your lure will trip your planer automatically. So this is the easiest way I know to get your planer set without having it be problematic for you. You let that line go slack, that means your planer's diving down. Lock up your reel, put it in slow forward. And there you have it. Your planer's set, you're up and rolling. Good to go, easy peasy. All right, put on your click. Tether that rod to the boat. You're up and trolling. We're in about $1.30, so we're gonna cruise around, like I said, 90 to 120 to start out with. See if we can find us that bite. All right, we are up and rolling. We got Penn International 30 on the planer. You see that parabolic bend? That means your planer is set. Once that parabolic bend goes away or your rod starts singing out, that more than likely means you're in the hookup and you got a fish on. It's time to reel it in and check and see what's going on. We got the White Bucktail Jig set out. We're looking for the bite right now. We're hanging out over the deep ledge of the first reef. So, you know, it's always best practice when you're trolling the reef to not troll in a straight line up and down the reef. You want to do what bait will naturally do, which is go in and out. Bait is elusive. Bait tries to hide from being eaten by predators. So, you want to try your darndest to simulate what bait fish are doing. All right, so we're heading back in. We're gonna head over towards that 90-foot area and curve back out. See if we can find the bite. Big guy, we're on. All right, here we go. Hold up 1 second. We're gonna keep boating forward. All right. Put that in there. There we go. Take the click off. All right. There you go. We got Abby on a fish. On the planer. The planer just tripped. We got Abby reeling him in. Nice little white bucktail jig hit on the planer. What we're gonna do is we're gonna head out towards sea. Because right now, what happens is once you get hooked up on your planer, you're kind of ringing the dinner bell for the sharks. So we're gonna kick the boat out this way. Kind of put this line out this way and give him some power against that fish reeling in. Reeling in a fish broadside always gives you a little bit more power than having it directly behind the boat. Having it behind the boat is always, you know, you are dragging the streamline, but it's a little bit more productive and a little bit more safe to keep you from getting it tied up in your motor if you got them broadside. So we curved out, we got land that way. We're heading out to the sea this way a little bit. You good, big guy? Good. You feel him?
We are family.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to ask me.
Yep.
Silly.
All right. And see what we got the hook up with. That's that white bucktail jig down in the water column. And see what we got the hook up with. Hopefully our fish is still there when we get them up. We got our boat in slow forward, which is what you need to do when you're trolling and you get the hook up. You want to keep that line tight. And that is one of the effective ways to keep the line tight, is by keeping your boat in slow forward. You've effectively put a big hole in his mouth when he hits it, so you don't want him to kind of bobble and weave and act erratic and get off. So what's gonna happen is once we get up to this planer, we're gonna set the rod in the rod holder. I'm gonna have Abby sit down and then we'll hand line our fish in. I'm an old school planer trolling guy. I kind of like that hand lining man versus fish battle at the end of it. You all right? There you go. Pull back and reel on the way down if you need to, big guy. Having a little bit of early morning fun. The planer, there we go. Look at him. He's got that fisherman stance right there. That one leg posted up. Don't pull it against you, huh? There you go. Don't fight him if he wants to, you know, struggle. Let him struggle. That's how we win the battle. All right, here we go. Here's our planer. All right, big guy. I'm gonna have you grab. Let me get this. Going ahead. You can take your belt off. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here. Oh yeah, we definitely got a fishy out there. Now, the great thing again about bucktail jigs is they catch everything. You can be trolling them up in a little bit shallower and get hit by a mackerel, snapper, little bonita. I mean, man, the possibilities are endless. That's the great thing about this jig, is that, you know, it's super versatile when it comes to what it will catch. All right, see my fish, he's starting to do a little bit of bobbing and weaving and coming up. We're gonna find out what we got. Here we go, here he comes. Looks like a little barracuda we got. Perfect. Looks like we're gonna have some dinner. Little barracuda over the reef. There we go. You know what? Let me get the gaff. Oh yeah, I'll get big. Dinner in the boat, barracuda on the bucktail jig. Look at that. That's like I told you, you know, that bucktail jig is going to catch anything and everything. But this is a perfect size barracuda for dinner. Under 10 pounds. No need to be wary about ciguatera poison. Nice little first fish. Solid 8, not even a 10-pound barracuda. Man, going to be great on the dinner table. Small barracuda are perfectly safe. I understand there's always a concern about barracuda having ciguatera poisoning. When they're out over the deep reef like that and they're small like that, it's really not a concern at all. Like I said, great first fish. Abby, the fish slayer, showing you how it's done. And at the same rate, we put on a little bit of a clinic about that white bucktail jig down deep, getting into the hookup. Like I told you, the white bucktail jig catches anything in the ocean. Up on top, down low, anywhere. It's super effective. All right, folks, so that was a nice little barracuda hookup on the white bucktail jig on a planer. So what I want to do before we go any further is I want to take you back and I want to show you exactly how to rig up this white bucktail jig for planer trolling so that you can get into the bite. To do this properly, you're going to need a few items. You're going to need the bucktail jig of your selective choice. This is a white bucktail jig, 3/4 ounce from the company SPRO. Around 16 to 20 inches of wire leader. This particular wire leader is number 4, 40-pound test from the company Malin. And a haywire twist tool if you have one and you like to use it, which I do. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a loop on the main line end that will attach to the main line of our rod and reel. So what you're going to do is you're going to feed your wire leader through the fixed end of your haywire twist tool. Leave about 1 inch hanging out. You're going to form a loop on one end and you're going to twist and start twisting so that it forms the knot, and you are essentially twisting the wires together. I usually give this about 10 to 15 twists, make sure I've formed a good knot. Then I release the haywire twist tool and you have a bunch of twists which you have effectively wound your wire leader together. Now you take your tag end, you bend it at a 90-degree angle, and now we're going to do some barrel wraps. You want about 6 to 10 barrel wraps, nice and as tightly packed as you can get them. And as you see, they start to form right here, and you just keep going. Like I said, you want about 6 to 10. Alright, that's good. We've got enough barrel wraps. Solid haywire twist. Now what we're going to do is we're going to snap off our tag simply by bending it back and forth until it gives us a clean break. And there you have your tag, and now you can run your fingers seamlessly across it without getting snagged on the little break off point. Alright, so now we have the loop that will attach to our main line. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten our lure on. So you feed your wire leader through the eye of your lure. Then again, you're going to put that through the fixed end of your haywire twist tool and you will make a loop. Be sure not to pinch this end. This is where your loop is going to connect to your lure. So you want to make sure it's not pinched so that it doesn't kink and break off. To do that, you just start making your twists again with your haywire twist tool. You know, good 10 to 15 twists. Pull it back, release your haywire twist tool. And now, again, we will bend our tag and we will simply start making barrel wraps. As you can see here, you got your nice little end loop attached to your lure. You can always use the lure as pressure against the wire leader for twisting and making your barrel wraps, or you can kind of wrap the wire around itself. All the same stuff. Again, you want to do about 6 to 8 barrel wraps, nice tight wraps, and we'll be good to go. Here we have it, a nice solid haywire twist, and again we will just simply snap off the tag end. You're good to go. That lure's up and ready to troll. Alright folks, and that is exactly how you rig up the White Bucktail Jig for planer trolling. A little short trace of wire leader so you don't lose your lure from the toothy critters over the edge of the reef. Alright folks, we had a great day. Got a couple of hookups, bringing home a nice barracuda for dinner. Went over exactly how to get that bucktail jig underway planer trolling. Went over a few tactics, trolled over to shallow reef, got into that hookup with that nice barracuda. And like I said before, if I had one lure and one lure only to choose, it would be the bucktail jig. And this is a perfect example of why. Alright folks, that about does it for this episode. Hope you had fun, hope you enjoyed. Now I hope you learned a little bit about trolling the white bucktail jig with a planer. Till next time, South Florida saltwater fishing, going wherever the cool wind takes us.